Participants, kindly mute your audio.
You mute all men.
If I mute, okay, Professor, if I mute all for you.
Yeah, I muted all.
Okay. It's picture perfect now. So we are still waiting for some participants. It shows live on YouTube now, Professor.
Yes, ma'am. I shared the link.
Okay, I'll check it. I hope all these conversations will not go to YouTube now, right?
Now it is live, ma'am.
Now it is live.
Yeah.
Oh, it is going to YouTube.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Professor. Thank you, Professor, for the link.
Welcome, ma'am. My pleasure. And then I have enabled you. You
Okay.
can even record, I think so.
Or record the program. Okay. Record option is there. Record on this computer. Which would be better, Professor? Record on computer or record on cloud? Which is good?
If you have cloud storage, better cloud. You can share with others.
Okay.
If you store it in your computer, then again you have to upload it, and then you will have to face so many technical
issues. Okay.
Yeah. Better you store it in your cloud so that you can share it anytime.
So it's recording on cloud.
अच्छा अब वो नीचे अच्छा मोर पे उसमें मोर अच्छा ठीक है अच्छा अच्छा हाँ हाँ अभी तो कोई चैट है ही नहीं इसमें है ना अच्छा ये ओवर हो जाए अभी तो आ रही है
Professor Rajmohan, you can now post it, post the YouTube link to all the groups so that everybody will watch us on YouTube also. Professor Rajmohan, are you there?
Ma'am, I'm already posted in your group, madam.
No, in all the groups.
On all-
YouTube link.
I will post the YouTube link in all my 5 groups, ma'am.
Okay, that's good. Shall, Professor, if you say that we shall, there are 91 participants. I see in the room.
Dr. Vyas sir, kindly record our, is it possible to record this meeting, sir?
கொலை விடத்தை மாத்தி கொடுத்ததுன்னு சொல்றாரம்மா பேசிப்பாரு.
Oh God.
என்ன இல்ல பழசு வீடு தான்.
Professor,
இந்த புருண்டை இந்த ப்ளூ பிரிண்ட் காமிச்சிருக்க மாட்டாரோ?
Professor Sereis, sir.
எப்படி பார்த்துட்டு சைன் பண்ணிக்கிறேன்னா அந்த இது முன்னாடினா அந்த பழைய ப்ளூ பிரிண்டே வச்சு வாங்கிட்டாங்க. இது வந்து புதுசா போடுற மாதிரி இல்ல.
இல்ல இத காமிச்சலையானே அவங்க.
அத
Okay, Rajmohan. Professor Sereis is the host. Professor, shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please.
Professor Rajmohan, you are there, right? Professor Rajmohan, are you there? I think, Professor, I think I have unmuted Professor Rajmohan's screen. Could you please check that too?
Malavi
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, Professor, he is there. Thank you. So now let's get started with today's schedule. As people keep coming inside, there are already, the room is getting full, and this program is live on YouTube too. So those who are not able to get an admit into this room, kindly follow us on the YouTube, and the YouTube link is being posted on all groups, especially for all the registered participants. It is posted in their WhatsApp group and Telegram. Now I think it would be nice if Professor Rajmohan gives a summary of the program, so that after which I would be able to welcome the resource person, and then we shall get ahead with today's schedule. Professor Rajmohan, it's over to you. Speak about this
Okay, madam.
of today.
Dear participant, good morning to all. Welcome, Mr. Dr. Vyas sir. Today's program is about to start. Dr. Vyas Ahmed going to deliver the lecture till 11:10. After that, all participants are permitted to submit their questions only in the chat box. Participants are not permitted to ask questions directly to Dr. Vyas Ahmed sir. If you want to clarify your doubts, kindly post your questions in the chat box only. Malavi madam or myself will become a moderator, will act as a moderator. We will take questions to Dr. Vyas Ahmed sir. Malavi ma'am.
Morning, sir.
Yes, I'm there. Well, I would like to
Now I would like to call upon Malavi ma'am.
yeah.
Resource person, Dr. Vyas Ahmed.
And it is my pleasure that I'm welcoming Professor Dr. Faiz Ahmed Ilkal sir. He is a professor and local head of English department in Rani Channamal University, Karnataka. Professor has very good expertise in the field of research and in the field of many literary forums. He has been posting national and international webinars. Recently, you would have also attended many of his webinars. And I'm really happy that Professor had given his consent when I approached him to speak in this forum, and immediately rendered his service by extending the Zoom facility also. Thank you, Professor. With a note of gratitude, I would like to introduce you. And at this juncture, I would like to say Professor is known for his literary prowess. And he has published a lot of research articles in referee journals and careless publications and Scopus publications. And Professor is guiding. He is a research guide, and he has many scholars to his credit under him. Professor Fayez is very good at speaking, especially on research dynamics, and he himself is a dynamic person, and you would have seen him. That is a proven fact in many of the YouTube links also, and his Facebook forum also. Such a wonderful service he is doing for the society by conglomerating people internationally. I myself have witnessed many of the international webinars he has arranged, and based on that only, I was able to get his link, and he was so humble enough to give his consent to us to speak in this forum. Thank you, Professor. And with that note, and with that note of assured prayers for your service to the society in the field of education and academic research, I would like to welcome you for today's session. And the floor is yours, Professor, now.
Yeah, thank you, Raj Mohan sir, for extending an invitation and believing in my ability that I will do justice to the participants. And also, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Malti Madam for giving such a pleasant introduction of mine. I hope I'm audible to you all.
Very much, Professor.
Yeah. Okay, then now I will be sharing my screen. I have prepared a small PPT. Yeah. So the topic of my today's lecture is the dynamics of research in English. As Malti Madam has said that I have been rendering my service in education, of course, as an assistant professor. I am working in Rani Chennamma University, and then I have involved myself in research activity, and I have come across so many students who face difficulty in pursuing their research. So here, research, when I say research, it's not limited to only a particular section of the student community. It may be PG student, it may be an aspiring research scholar. It's to pursue his teaching and research kind of a thing into this field. And as we all know that in our education system, there are three broad categories. One is science, the second is social science, and the other is humanities. And since English falls under the category called humanities, so I thought that I had to throw light upon this specific area wherein the students face lots of problems. And when compared to science and then social science and then English language and literature, we find that there is the research methodology, the approach is very much different. Fine. So I will be covering all those aspects in my as and how we progress into this lecture. And you can see there in the quotation, research is what? Research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. So with this notion, I begin my lecture. So this is what the plan is for my lecture today. These are the topics which I will be covering. First, I will be dealing with the meaning of research, and then the objectives, and then the types of research, research approaches, significance of research, research methods, research process. So the topics which I have displayed it on the board there. Each and every topic needs a lots of discussion. It may run more than 2 hours, 3 hours. It's a never-ending discussion. But just I have capsulated and I have put it in a small PPT. I hope I live up to your expectation and I may be able to answer your all anxieties. Yeah. So now, what, why, and aims of research. So whenever this question comes to one's mind, we have to ponder. Sometimes some people ponder that why do we need research? They think, why do we need research? What is research? So the misconception about research is to research which has been already searched. Okay. So let us go in a formal way. In Cambridge Dictionary, what does it say? A research is a detailed study of a subject. It may be any subject. It's not limited to only English language or English literature. It may be to any subject, especially in order to discover new information or reach a new understanding. So when something new is being searched, or it is not called as research, it is called as invention. It is called as a discovery, but it is not research. So research is something which, as I told you in my the earlier quotation, that we have to analyze, we have to find, we have to criticize, we have to evaluate the authenticity of the thing which has been discovered or invented. Got it. So most of the times there is a misconception about research. So what most of them they do, they research the existing data, they collect all the material and then they rework upon it and then represent and then re-award. So this thing is very much happening. I'm sorry to say this, but this is what is happening. Research. So why do we need research here? Let me give you an example of a computer. Babbage, he is the inventor of the computer. And when he invented the computer, it was almost, a computer was consisting of an entire building. It was that huge. And then as and how the days progressed, as and how they put on their research into it, the computer was coming down and it was becoming smaller and smaller as and how the research took on. And then now we have just at the fingertips or in a palm size. So this is what is research. Research gives a better tomorrow. You couldn't have asked a better situation than COVID-19, because now so many are behind. They are searching to find a vaccine, and it is mainly because of research. So research enables us for a better tomorrow. Why do we need research? For a better tomorrow, for a better understanding, for better communication, for a better life, isn't it? So it's only possible through research. And then the ultimate aim, what to do that. The aim of research should be, especially, okay, so it may be theoretical or it may be historical. So here again, why research? So as I told you for COVID-19, we have a specific purpose of doing research, because day in, day out, we are facing so many difficulties. We will be facing so many difficulties. And then when we face those difficulties, we come across such situations wherein we need to cope up. We have to come out of that particular situation. So that prompts us into research. That takes us into research. So I have called it as a research for specific reason. So the reason may be for, especially for PG students, it may be for project, and then for degree, it may be MPhil or PhD degree, or it may be for promotions as well. And then some of them out of interest or out of curiosity, they may be pursuing their research. As we know, project in our university, especially, and in most of the universities now, for PG students in whichever field they may be, okay, project has been mandatory, especially in their final year. They have to submit their project. I don't want to go into the nuances of a project and the details of all those things, but just I'm touching upon that area. So, and then in degree, MPhil and PhD. Earlier, very seldom people used to take up research, especially MPhil or PhD. For my own example, in 2003, when I completed my PG, I was very much sure of doing my PhD because out of interest, I wanted to do it. At that time, we didn't had exemption from appearing net or SEC, and I had never thought about it also. But then now, in somewhere in the year 2007 or 2008, that MPhil and PhD has been exempted. Those who have MPhil and PhD are exempted from appearing from NET and SET. And of course, I am also enjoying the same. And then later, I went on to clear NET and SET examinations. And then now, day in, day out, the UGC is revising the guidelines as to how NET and SET and PhD. So now there's the news in the circulation that those who have NET and SET, for them to get an appointment as an assistant professor, PhD is a must. I am not going to go in detail into it. And then out of interest and curiosity. So these are the 5 specific areas which I have found that make us to indulge or involve ourselves in this research. So now research, we can't imagine our life without research. We have research in each and every walk of our life. It may be while purchasing, it may be while traveling, it may be in an event, it may be official, or it may be in documentation also. As I gave you an example of a computer, so just like that, while purchasing, suppose I want to purchase a mobile, what I do, I go and meet a person who has recently bought a mobile or whom I have lots of faith and on whom I can blindly believe upon. Okay, I go and approach them and then I will ask him, and then what is the latest model which is available in the market, and then I ask about. Yes, Jayalakshmi has some question. Hello. Yeah, shall I continue?
Yes, Professor, please.
Hello. Yeah. I hope I'm there. Audible. Yeah.
Audible, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So suppose if and then whether the mobile is repairable or not, and then whether the services are there available or not, the same method we have to apply in our research as well. And even while traveling also. Somewhere we are trotting to an untrodden path. What do we do before going there? Suppose we don't have any information about that particular area. We do not know the roadmap. We do not know our destinations. We do not know where we have to stop, where we have to proceed. Research is just like that. Okay, and even matrimonial also, and some of the events, those who have organized such event, we go to them, and then even during matrimony also, we seek suggestions from other people. And then these are all informal way of doing research. And when it comes to formal research, it is official and documentation. When you involve yourself in informal research, nobody asks you, nobody questions you. You are not countable. You cannot be dragged legally. But when it comes to official and documentation, especially in research, okay, you are very much answerable to the society, answerable to the public. Because whatever you write, whatever you present, whatever you submit, it goes into the public domain. Hence, you are very much answerable, and then thanks to the central government of India and UGC, they are bringing in strict measures in order to cut this plagiarism. Earlier, when they had introduced it, it was 30%, and now it has 30 or it may be 8. I'm not. And then people used to publish articles in various journals, and then there also that filtering process came into existence, and then they asked it should be published into ISBN journals and books, and then again it was refiltered, first refined, double refined, triple refined. So now ultimately what has happened, we have to publish our articles into care list, UGC care list. If you go to ugc.ac.in website, there you find a list of journals which has been graded into 4 categories, A, B, C, D, if I'm not wrong. And then as and how, in which grade you publish. Thankfully for English literature and language, we need not publish it into that is index kind of a thing. Fine. And then when it comes to if not MPhil and PhD, the filtering process is called as a plagiarism. There are 2 softwares, Turnitin and what is that? Urkund, yeah, Urkund and Turnitin. These 2 softwares, they check the number, the percentage of your quality of your research, how authentic, how original it is, and it should be 10%. And that thing is being put into the UGC database, which is called as Show the Ganga. And now one more website is coming up, which is called as Show the Sindhu also. And then moreover, now HRDC is investing lots of time and energy into this e-content, e-programming, e-learning, e-teaching as well. And then just like that, e-Pathshala is also one kind of an initiative which has been started by MHRD. And then there are even open access journals also. And then Swayam is there, wherein the assistant professors, those who have joined in freshly into their services, they have to undergo this refresher course and orientation course. And this is how the things are changing. We are exposed to new challenges, and we have to update ourselves as and how the times are changing. And then the features, which is academic and intellectual work. So what is research? Research is a systematic and critical investigation in the field of knowledge to establish facts or principles. And then a fresh approach to a subject or interpretation of facts. It is just like a building, and we just take a blueprint out of it, and then we construct a building in our own plot. And the method may be same, but the materials which we are using there, it should be different. Otherwise, it will be just like a copy, the same thing. Okay. And then a fresh approach to the subject or interpretation of facts should be done. That is why we call it as a research. Otherwise, it won't be a research at all. And then revision of accepted laws or theories in the light of discovery of new facts. Okay, for example, again, yeah.
This is Malti. Some participants say that the chat box is disabled. Shall we enable the chat box, Professor? Sorry that I'm disturbing you the flow of your lecture. I'm really sorry, but people keep on.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
For opening it, maybe they will type their questions there. They have.
Screen. Yeah, now they can.
Okay, Professor. Thank you.
I have enabled it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, am I sharing the screen?
Yes, sir. Very well. It's full screen.
So most of them, when they I'm getting some yeah, while the lecture is going on, please do not chat, otherwise it right. So now, whenever we pursue our research, sometimes we may be knowing, we will be thinking that I need to do research, but we will be not clear about our objectives. So before planning your research, you not only think about on which topic you will be hopping upon, other than that, you should also be very clear about your objectives. So objectives help in these things. To acquire and advance knowledge and abilities works through intense study of the original texts of selected literary works. And it also to apply the concerned literary theory or concept to the selected literary works. To analyze and discuss literary works concerned and have a thorough understanding of the literary creativity, literary criticism, and literary research methods. To develop new theories, concepts, or tools for study of unknown phenomena. So objectives enables you to pursue your research in a better way. So while doing your research, you make it a point that you are very clear about your objectives and what you are going to find out through your research. As I told you earlier, that it is also important to understand the uses and types of information which may vary across disciplines. So now there are three, it is been broadly classified into three broad categories: humanities, sciences, and social sciences. They here you can see I have divided as per the purpose of research. So in humanities and science and social science, the purpose is different and the methodology is different. And then the examples of primary sources is different and examples of secondary and tertiary sources is different. So here, let me tell you, sources are three types. First is a primary, second is a second is secondary, and third is a tertiary. Tertiary sources is nothing but soft sources, or it may also be called as e-contents. As you can see there, in humanities, the purpose of research is to understand and analyze the meaning of individual events, people, and creative works. It may be, when I say that it is creative work, it may be novel, it may be poem, it may be drama, or any form of literature. And then the research methodology, it may be qualitative. Again, I will be discussing about types of research in my. And then examples of primary sources, it may be creative works, diaries, letters, interviews, news, and footage. Excuse me. Examples of secondary and tertiary sources, they may be in the form of books, journals, articles, textbooks, reference material. So you may find it offline as well as online. And then let us move to types of research. It may descriptive versus analytical, fundamental versus applied, quantitative versus qualitative, conceptual versus empirical, applied action versus fundamental. So it depends on what type of research you are doing and in which area you are doing. And again, it's left to you on which area you will be, because once if you start your research, you should stick on to that. Okay, and then you should not think that I will do everything I can. It again depends on your choice, whether which form of literature you are comfortable at. You should first think about that, whether drama, poetry, short story, novel. You have to select that first. Okay, and after that, which paper, in which literature you are interested in. You have to be very clear about that. And after once you are clear about these things, then you have to approach the research guide, and to that particular guide who is very much specialized in that particular paper or in that particular field. Otherwise, everything will be haphazard. Okay, so let us take descriptive versus analytical. Descriptive research is nothing but here the researcher has to only report what is happening or what has happened. Here just collect the material and dump it. And so that is descriptive research for you. And then in analytical research, the researcher has to use the already available facts or information and analyze them to make a critical evaluation of the subject. And then fundamental and applied research. So what is applied research? It is an attempt to find solution to an immediate problem encountered by a firm, an industry, a business organization, or the society. As I told you, it's left to you as to which type of research you are going to take up or which you have taken up already. And then fundamental research is gathering knowledge for knowledge's sake, is called pure or basic. And then quantitative and qualitative. So here quantitative research involves the measurement of quantity or amount. Example, economic and statistical methods. And in qualitative research is concerned with the aspects related to the involving quality or kind. Example, motivational research involving behavioral sciences. And then conceptual versus empirical. Conceptual research, the research related to some abstract idea or theory. Philosophers and thinkers using this to develop new concepts. So here when it comes to conceptual research, we have to apply. We have to think literature, we have to think research from philosophical perspective. Without philosophy, we can't we can imagine about doing research, especially in English literature. Again, it is debatable. It's left. It's my own principle. You may argue about it. Okay, and then empirical research relies on the observation or experience with hardly any regard for theory and system. And then applied or action versus fundamental. So here basic research is also called as pure research or fundamental research, which is scientific research aimed to improve scientific theories for improved understanding or prediction of natural or other phenomena. And then applied research is a form of systematic inquiry involving the practical application of science. So here when it comes to literary research, literature is different from social science, as I told you earlier. But in certain cases, in papers like linguistics and phonetics and even in English, English for foreign language, we can use this. We have to collect material, we have to go to ground, we have to carry out groundwork and all those things. Questionnaire method can be adapted. And most of them, they have this misconception that literature, especially pursuing research in English literature or language, there is no need to go to the field. Okay, you can just you can be confined to the four walls of the library or your room, and then you can write down your research. No, it's not like that. And then the product of the creative writer. And then literary research cannot confine itself to the study of literary text or the writer. It has to study both. As I told you, primary source and secondary source. Primary source itself, text written by the author. It is an original or a creative work written by that particular writer, and whatever is written about that particular writer or about that particular text, it becomes a secondary source. Okay. When the object of study is the writer, the tools applied are similar to those used in social sciences for his works. The tools are specific to the purpose. So the types here may be bibliographical, and then bibliography and textual criticism, theoretical and interpretative. So the topic or the research which you take up, it should be very much significant. Okay, it should explore an unexplored area. You should throw light upon that area where the light has not been thrown at all. It is not being touched at all. Even if it is touched also, it should be a new perspective from new angle. It should be approached. So here, research is significant for careerism, professional development, source of livelihood for youth. It has its own specific purposes, as I told earlier also. Outlet for ideas, insights, and philosophies for philosophers and thinkers. And then development of new styles and creative work to generate new theories for literary man. So research methods. Research methods again varies from the discipline from where do you come. Research method constitutes a part of research methodology. The scope of research methodology is wider than that of research methods. Research methodology is a way to systematically solve the research problem. It is the logic behind the methods we use in the context of our research and explain. So when you think of doing research, you should be very clear as to which topic you will be choosing. And then first, after that, you have to think about whether the work has been taken up on that area or not. If at all it is being taken, on which angle it has been taken, on which perspective it is being taken, and which is the angle and which is the area which is not been explored at all. Okay. And then even after choosing all these things, you have to think about the availability of material. Whether the material is available or not, both primary as well as then secondary, and then the tertiary sources, obviously, and then whether now the UGC has made it mandatory that for full-time researchers you have to complete your PhD within 3 years, and then those who are opting for part-time they have to complete it in 4 years. When we were pursuing our PhD at that time, there was no guidelines like this. Okay, now you have to be very carefully and tactfully. You should choose a topic which should be very appropriate, and it should be apt, and it should be relevant as well. Okay, so by doing all these things, you may be you may complete your research in that particular time frame which has been allotted to. You have to be very, very clear about it. So after that, so for that, what you have to do, you have to choose why research, why you have taken up that particular writer, that particular topic, and then which methodology, and how you will be approaching towards this problem, the problematic of your research, and in what way and what data you will be using, and why a particular technique of analyzing the data has been used. You have to be very clear about all these things. And then this is how the research process, the flow of research goes. First, what you have to do, you have to formulate a research problem. The selection of topics. Sometimes it is again left to the researcher as well as the research guide onto which topic. There are so many chats. It has been so you please sit with your guide and then finalize about the selection of topic, and then after selection of the topic, there is a process, and after that it is being placed into the postdoctoral committee, and then there it is being discussed about the authenticity and whether the research should be carried upon that topic or not. And I'm afraid, and I am also sorry to say that in most of the universities, people are not that modern in order to take up some experimental work. They are still very much orthodox and traditional, and they do not take up new topics. Okay, and they somewhere I had heard that in one particular university they are not encouraging the students to take up research on plays, because nowadays plays and dramas there are no theaters at all. So their contention is that, okay, when there are no theaters, where do you watch those plays and how do you formulate your research? So there are some limitations, and for that also you should be ready. And it's again left to the researcher whether you want to take up a challenging topic or a smooth going one, or you want to surrender to the topic which is being given to you by your research guide. Okay, and then review related literature concepts and theories. When I was pursuing my PhD at that time, some 2-3 professors of our department and other universities, they discouraged me to write a review of literature. And then especially in literature, this review of literature, they do not, they mostly they discourage you to write this review of literature, because it is just like collecting, and in most of the thesis I have found out that this review of literature itself comprises of one chapter, the one whole chapter. So it is waste of time and energy. Okay, it again differs from person to person. Okay, if your guide insists in writing the review of literature, but don't make it a chapter, but it may be a limited one. Okay, and then review previous research findings. Okay, once you are done with the topic and once you are done with the theory and with methodology, so you start collecting material. And then while collecting material, you have to prepare a rough bibliography of primary source. Of course, if you have chosen one particular writer, or if you have chosen more than one writer, or you have chosen a group of writers, first you have to collect primary source, original work written by them. And then secondary source which has been written by about them, about that particular theory, about that particular concept. Fine. And then you have to formulate hypothesis, because after when you have chosen the topic, you must be very much sure about the outcome of the topic as well. Okay, otherwise it will lead you to nowhere. And then design research including sample. Collect data execution, you have to filter. Almost I have seen most of the students, including me myself also, while I was pursuing my PhD, I used to just collect material and get it Xerox. There was a mad rush to collect whatever piece of information we used to get directly or indirectly related to that topic or to that writer. But nowadays you can have access to so many online open access journals, and then even thanks to Amazon and Flipkart, you can just place an order, and within few days you can have an access to those texts. And then analyze data, collect data execution, and then after collecting all those data, you have to filter it, which is useful and which is not useful. So most of the research scholars, they dwell into this Hamilton dilemma, to be or not to be, to include this material or to exclude that material, whether I should use this material or not. So while doing this, almost you lose 1 year or maybe 2 years, and then you hurriedly start writing. Okay, so before planning about research, you have to have a blueprint of all these things. And then analyze data, test hypothesis, interpret data, and then write a report. In some of the universities now, while you are during your PhD YY itself, during your entrance, they ask you to present a research proposal, and some of them they ask this submission. It was from university to university. And then formulating the research problem. A thesis needs to be original and a genuine contribution of knowledge. It may be a fresh interpretation of the known facts and or discovery of new facts. Sometimes we come across these statements by the so-called research supervisors, that even now also people can pursue PhD on William Shakespeare. There's nothing wrong in doing that. Or even you can take up any writer and even some of the translated works in your own regional languages. Okay, and then 2 steps are involved here: the understanding the problem thoroughly and rephrasing it in a meaningful way. Study of a few standard critical studies, narrowing the topic to a specificity. So you have to be very much tight in presenting your research problem. It should not be very haphazard. It should not dilute the main problem of the research. It should, you don't think about writing it for almost 300, 500 hours like a Bible. Okay, and even don't think of writing it for a 50 page or 100 page or like that. So the number of pages is not a constraint here, but it should be tight and it should be effective. Fine. And then selecting the research topic, as I told you, in most of the universities, based upon the specialization and the interest of the student, these seats are being allotted. Fine. And then you can select your own topic, or you can select a topic which has been recommended, suggested by your research guide. Okay. And then some particular universities are specifically for comparative literature, or those particular areas, cultural studies, and then for translation. Okay, so if you take your PhD or research in those, then your scope is limited. You have to take up on those topics itself. Okay, and then selecting the research topic, general area of interest of a subject matter. Initially state the problem in a broad general way, resolve the ambiguities if any. Check feasibility, rephrase the topic analytically, examine available literature to get acquainted with the selected problem. So in most of the cases, some of the students are a bit anxious, and even they are afraid whether the topic they have chosen is apt or not, appropriate or not. Initially, you can go ahead with the topic. Even after that also, if you find that there you are not finding material, you can again switch on, switch over, or you can take up another topic. And again, it differs from university to university because they have different guidelines. So other than these things, you should also be aware about the guidelines, PhD guidelines issued by the UGC time and again, and of those particular state and those particular universities, whether they are autonomous or central or state. And then examine available literature to get acquainted with the selected problem. Conceptual concepts and theories, empirical literature studies, enable the researcher to specify his own problem. And then review of literature. Again, the review of literature will lead us to so much of discussion. I don't want to hop upon that. I will be touching the topic, and then I will leave it to you. Define and limit the problem. Consult the source material and collect information. Source, abstracting, journal, indexing, and it is a primary as well as secondary sources. And then formulating a hypothesis. How to formulate hypothesis? So we have to develop a working hypothesis. It should not be vague, it should not be abstract, it should not be superfluous. It should be very much real. Okay. And then make tentative assumptions, and in order to draw certain conclusions. While you prepare hypothesis also, you should also have certain conclusions, and some of them even prepare an appendix also. And it is just like a door, one door which opens 100 doors. A thesis should be like that. For example, Edward Said's Orientalism. It was just it was a seminal work, a path-breaking work. It was a thesis which was again later published into a book, and then from there on, the concept of Orientalism, and people started speaking about Orientalism and post-colonial literature. It should be just like that. And then the role of hypothesis is to keep the researcher on the right track. It will not divert your attention. Okay. It is like just like a tight rope. It helps to focus on important aspects of the problem and determine the data collecting material methods as well. And then research design, objective, purpose, what, why, where. You can just make a note of it. The budding research scholars, the novices. First, you have to be very clear about your objective and your purpose. As I told you, some of them, they do it for projects, some of them for their MPhil, some of them for their PhD. Okay. And after that, why, what, where. And then audience, to whom you are writing. Okay. Even a research paper, research article is also research. If you are writing a paper, research paper, there you have to think about to which audience your focus will be. And then kind of information, type of data, source of information, sample design, data analysis, style of preparing the report, And again, style of preparing the report writing, again it leads to another chapter, okay, which may need lots of time to discuss upon. And then research approach, how to approach about a research. For quantity data, the analysis will be quantitative, like inferential method, that is survey method, and then simulation method, construction of an artificial environment. And then qualitative approach, sorry, I'll be with the, because as I told you earlier, it has its own limitations. Okay. And then literary approach. As per Wilbur Scott, in his edited anthology of modern critical texts, and divided them into 5 broad groups: moral approach, psychological approach, formalistic approach, archetypal approach, sociological approach. So it depends from which approach you are doing your PhD or your research. So it may be a project, it may be MPhil, it may be PhD, it may be research article or a research paper. And then William J. Handy and Max Westbrook divided criticism into 6 broad groups. So after the turn of 20th century, literary criticism was not criticism, but it was changed as a literary theory after the emergence of linguists into the field of literature. The concept of looking at literature changed thoroughly. It was quite the opposite, and then they started applying theory to the text. So it may be formalistic criticism, genre criticism, archetypal criticism, psychoanalytic criticism, historical criticism, interdisciplinary criticism. And then you have to think about all from these aspects, and you should find out which theory or which criticism is apt to the topic or the research which you have taken up. And now the UGC is encouraging and promoting interdisciplinary theories or research. That is for your kind information. And then data collection for literary studies. So from where you have to collect your material. For primary, it may be work of authors or autobiography, interviews, articles in newspapers, magazines, and letters. And even sometimes interviews also, they play a very vital role. And then data collected through surveys, interviews, etc. So that can be used in the papers like linguistics and then phonetics, ELT, and ESL. English language teaching and English for specific purpose. And secondary data, articles in journals, books, critical books on the author, magazines, e-articles, websites, literary theories, and how to quote and how to put this reference. For that, we have to use this MLA. MLA is Modern Language Association. And now there are so many editions, and at present we are having 8th or 9th edition. So we have to comply to it. So it is specifically designed for language, for those who are doing research in languages or humanities. Processing and analysis of data. So data interpretation, evaluating, coding, tabulation, statistical calculation, interpreting. It again depends on which topic, on which paper you are pursuing, whether it is applicable or to you or not. And hypothesis testing. How to test a hypothesis? By finding out, do the facts support the formulated hypothesis? Generalizing and interpretations, and then build a theory. In case of this is finding on the basis of some sharing this PPT with Malti Madam and Raj Mohan sir. Okay, and then the preparation of the report. So how you have to prepare your report and what should be the contents of a report. It should consist of title and certificates in order to authenticate your research, and then preface, acknowledgements, table of contents, report, introduction, chapters, conclusions, and appendices, bibliography, graph charts, etc. You can just see the flowchart of a research proposal over there. Introduction, what, why, how, and then research question and summary of proposal, and then literature review, why and then how, literature on topic, literature on method, theoretical approach, find a hole, look for debates, and then methodology as to how and what type of methodology you will be approaching or you will be adopting, research design, research procedures, kind of data, collection procedures, selection and access, human subjects review, ethics statements, so on and so forth. And then you should be also very much clear about the ethics statement. Ethics and all those things is a completely different venture altogether. Ethics is very, very important, and that is where this plagiarism and all those things come into discussion. And then costs and funding. So whether it may be project or it may be MPhil or a PhD or whether you are doing it through JRF or through some funding, you should be very, very clear as to which time and the time limit you will be submitting your project. And then preliminary data. Evidence of importance informs methodology, preliminary findings, important categories and relationships, and then statement of limitations, alternatives, weaknesses, so on, so forth. And then in conclusion, contributions and importance. And a conclusion should lead to another few more theses on the topic which you have chosen. It should prompt others to take up, throw light upon other areas as well. And then this is just a flowchart of a timeline of literary theory as proposed by Karen Nelson. This criticism started, or which you call it as a classical theory, somewhere during 400 BC and 400 AD. And the noteworthy critics were Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, so on and so forth. So with this, I conclude the presentation of mine. You can reach out to me. I have shared my email ID as well as my mobile number. And I would like to end this discussion with a quotation. All progress is born out of inquiry. Doubt is often better than overconfidence, for it leads to inquiry, and inquiry leads to invention. Thank you.
12:30 पे आना है चलो। आप टीवी नहीं देखते हो, जब हमें देखनी होती है तब आपको देखनी होती है। अभी जब मैं
That was, of course, a wonderful session, Professor, and I'm really happy and thankful to you. This is Malti. On behalf of Government Arts and Science College, Peravurani, and on behalf of the HOD of English Department, Professor R. Rajmohan, I really extend my sincere gratitude to you, Professor. It was a wonderful lecture that would be very useful for very many research scholars. And these research scholars, in fact, they themselves have left a lot of comments in the chat box, which you can see now, I think. And that gives the proof, and many of them seem to have been very much impressed by the PPT that you have shared, and they have requested the PPT. That shows your merit. It was a holistic information on what is research, how to do research, and how to go about research, and what is the ethics, rightly mentioned, Professor, by you, and what is the need for ethics and how ethically we can do it, and the usage of softwares like Urkund and the Turnitin. All these things were well mentioned by you at the right time, would be very useful for many of the scholars. And the sources where they have to tap also, you have
Yes, ma'am.
stated well. And now I would Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Professor, I'm there. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Professor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I would like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
ask whether the participants have any queries to pose you. If they have queries to pose you, they can post their queries in the chat box. The participants can post their queries in the chat box so that your queries will be answered or addressed duly by the resource person. I'll check whether there are queries in the chat box too, and then all are compliments only, Professor. There is one question I find, Professor, I read out, that is from Dr. P.K. Gomati. Madam has asked you whether Urkun prohibits researchers to take up novelists of 19th and 20th century writers. Can you comment on this problem, sir? What's the question?
As far as Urkund and Urkund is concerned, ma'am, I'm not that much clear about it because I haven't used it yet. But you can get some videos on YouTube. So I hope your question will be addressed over there.
Okay.
Of course, this Urkund as well as one more. Sorry, I am unable to recollect the name of it. Those you can use those.
Turn it in.
Pardon?
Turn it in. Turn it in.
Yeah, turn it in. Yeah, yeah. Turn it in. So, but be very much sure before putting it and before checking it onto those softwares.
Yes.
You take some help, assistance, technical assistance.
That's good.
Because if your work goes into the public domain, then it will be no more your work.
And
how to identify thesis statement for research?
Yes.
So identification is very, very important over here. So for that, you can take assistance of your research guide as well. So he may be in a proper, he or she may be in a proper position.
Any other questions, if you would like to ask, participants may post it in the chat forum so that the questions will be moderated by me by asking it, posting it to the resource person for today. Participants, if you have questions, please post it in the chat box. One person, Yamakesi Shri. Yamakesi Shri, this madam actually gave me a call yesterday too to let her insight. She was very anxious to listen to you, Professor. And she has asked a question now. Hello, ma'am. I have two questions to ask. May I request you to give me a chance to unmute myself and ask the questions? Shall we unmute her, Professor? That means everybody will ask the same, right? Shall we? She is asking this question. Okay, let's see, madam. 1 second. Could you post it in the chat group?
I think only 69 participants are available. I think it will be possible. Can you reconsider it?
Well, madam, you are unmuted. You can ask.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning,
how
sir.
English literature and research address the COVID problem. So here, COVID is not a new epidemic or a new disease which we have come across. You will get number of references in poetry, in novel, in drama. Okay. And even very latest one, Amitav Ghosh's the dearrangement, wherein he speaks about pollution and all those things.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I think I should take your leave, and then Vijay Ilango ma'am, Vijay Sundari madam, she wants to engage the students for few minutes.
Before that, I would like to say much about you. Sir, yeah, I'm here. I'm very much available here only, sir. I would like
please,
to propose,
take over.
On behalf of the government college also, I would like to propose a vote of thanks to you from my part. Okay, sir, you are not pious, you are pious. I have seen you many times, even in the refresher course,
Yes, yes.
sharply on Fridays. Even today is a Friday. Just you will be busy with that. You are a very pious man, and then you also would be during that time also. I have watched you, and then even in when you tackle your particularly you want to motivate your candidates, PhD candidates in that girl Renuka. She always would introduce the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then I have seen you how you are
And even
seriously
I'm
dedicated.
thankful to her also, ma'am,
Yeah.
because as I had told in my session
Yeah.
that sometimes we are thrown upon the topic by the research supervisors that you don't know you have to do on this topic, otherwise you just walk
Correct,
out. So
correct.
I'm
You are
thankful to
strict, you
Renuka
are
and
saying.
most of my all four research candidates who
uh,
have just accepted. And then I hope I have taken them into confidence, and she has taken up a really very innovative topic on disability studies,
yeah, I have seen,
which is an
yeah,
emerging
as a
theory.
good yeah, as a good guide, yeah, that is so I have seen you in many dimensions. I am really much impressed.
The
I can say.
presentation itself shows the merit of you, Professor. That stands a proof.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's a very good academician, and then he will felicitate each other.
Yeah, the service Professor renders to everybody is really nice. Especially scholars reap a lot of benefit, and your university should be feel proud of you, Professor. Really. Uh,
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Please do
Thank you.
support us also.
Yeah, definitely, it's mutual, ma'am. Anytime, it's
Yeah, that's
mutual.
why we will felicitate.
And as people are still asking for the PPT, and I assure everybody on behalf of Pfizer that we will definitely post it to your mail IDs with which you have
Yes, yes.
registered to us. We
Yeah,
will
yeah.
definitely give you the PPT and all information.
Yeah, I'll be sharing the PPT right now. Okay, on the WhatsApp group which you have created.
Oh, very
Fine.
nice, Professor. So there is a WhatsApp group for the resource persons. As soon as the professor, a resource person today posts it in the WhatsApp group, I will post it immediately to the participants group, because I don't want to, Professor is a busy person. I don't want to add Professor's number to the participants group, so it will be a problem for him, I
To the
thought.
best of my knowledge, but whenever that academic questions arises,
Yes.
Fire sir will not hesitate and will not say this is
Yes.
not the right time.
Service
Or
my.
that is not. Yeah, he would be sincere and dedicated
Even
with
then, also,
service.
if you have any questions and any discussion, you
Academic
can
time.
just
Yes, of course.
call me anytime, or
Of
you can
course.
you can
Yes.
mail to me anytime,
Of course.
Could
whenever
you,
you feel like.
Professor, for the benefit of the participants, please leave your mail ID on the chat box so that participants might take that. And it is already there. We have given Professor's mail ID in the brochure itself, which we have sent to you. If you have noted it properly, Professor's mail ID is there, and all his particulars, designation details are there. And many of them say thanks. And one question is there, Professor. Shall I read?
Yeah.
Sir, can you give inputs on the citations and references from online as we have plagiarism issues? Again, almost a repetitive question, Professor, but still, yeah, I think now that we study and take inputs and references from online books and articles, they are talking about online materials, Professor.
Yeah, see, if I involve into that discussion, it will take lots of time. So better you do one thing, sir. You please call me at your leisure, okay? And I would like to address your this.
Oh, that's
question.
nice, sir. Thank you, participants. And on behalf of all the participants, I thank Dr. Pfizer for having shared his experience and especially the research dynamics. And that has been a wonderful session. And the PPT was so clear, and it talked about criticism, it talked about the methodology, and it talked about the methods by which you have to pursue your research, and how ethically you can make your research qualitative. So all the informations are broadly addressed by Professor Dr. Fayez, and thanks to him on behalf of Government Arts and Science College, Pera Urani, and on behalf of Professor R. Rajmohan, who is the head of the Department of English there. And at this juncture, I would like to call Dr. Vijaya Chamundeshwari Madam. She has some video informations about the central government to share with you. So I would like to call Dr. Vijay Chamundeshwari Madam to share that information with the participants. Madam,
Yeah.
are you there?
Yeah, I am available. I am here. Can you, make me able this one, share screen? Enable that.
You can enable, madam. The share screen option is visible on your screen, right?
Yes. That should be in white color, but it is in green. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Actually, after seeing the comments, that I don't want to put the blame on others, but I take responsibility to sort out that by showing this. This is only what I have learned in MBA. So here, what are the missed YouTube videos that I wanted to show you yesterday? Here I show you since I find time.
Ma'am, I think you have to work on the audio. Madam, is there audio there on the, we are not able to listen to the audio. Participants are asking whether there is volume, whether there is audio. Thank you, ma'am.
Migration goes.
Actually, Dr. Vijay ma'am was
Yes.
talking about migration yesterday. In connection to that, she is sharing this video.
This only what yesterday I spoke about. IOM. This will give clear picture of migration report.
Ma'am, I think
Yes.
as audio isn't clear, you can give a description orally.
Wait. You are not able to hear?
No, ma'am, audio is not, it is not audible here.
Why?
Wait, ma'am, it is not audible. Even the previous video was like that.
I can hear.
I mean, participants are also saying no audio.
I can hear. I am also one of the participants.
Some participants say that there is no video also.
Okay, let them others if they want.
Video
Yeah.
is visible for sure. Audio isn't heard. So could you just
Okay, let them. I will let them read.
Explain and run that, ma'am.
Okay. Here this is, and I am. But what I am speaking is audible.
Yes, very much audible. That is
Okay,
clear.
okay. Okay, so here we will find this IOM. These words are displayed there itself. The
Ma'am,
same words only. The same words only.
ma'am,
Okay.
where computer sound option will be there. You have to click it. Otherwise, narrate what is there.
Here he is giving that complete information about migration, latest migrations also that you can download. So whomever are interested to do descriptive and analytical research on migration, this site will be helpful. How we are able to see this COVID-19, that whatever that cases, new cases, and then recovered cases or casualty. Similarly, you will find here some more sites that are not only saying about COVID, and then you see migrants, how they also are going back to their profession with a lot of difficulty. That you will find in this video. Here, this is the report given by IOM on migration. Before COVID-19 and then after COVID-19. So you can analyze what happened before that and then what happened to that migration, particularly in the process, what is the. So whomever are willing to take correlation or involved in such analysis, you can go for this site. Nearly 1/4 of the whole generation, particularly out of 700 crores of people, you find 165 crores of people are in the process of migration. So you can take survey of the whole world, or you can take even a small part of any countries in the world. Hello?
Hello, ma'am. We are there listening to you.
Yeah. This is our central government's site. Here, whichever is needed. This is one is from UNO. Apart from this also, we can find our central government's video also here when you click India with the logo of central government. Here also we can find each countries and then years, who, then which types of people, or what are the political issues. So whether it is man-made or nature, they migrated from one place to the other place. This is another displacement tracking, but it is, yes, internet server error. This is our central government's but they are updating after COVID-19. Then another one. This one, what we have come across, that accident of 17 migrants who walked on the track, railway track, and were hit by goods.
The day, of course, the railway is inquiring into the matter as to how the driver could not possibly see them. Was there some sort of a speed limit that had been breached, or whether these people came into the line of the train out of nowhere? So all of this is being investigated, but unfortunate loss of life.
More than 100,000 years ago, the first modern humans left Africa and began to colonize the world. Since then, human history is also a history of migration. Migration has always been a strong impetus towards human development. These days, however, migration is often seen as
Standing amongst the dirt and the barbed wire, the faceless crosses lay across its rusty surface.
These two are
A la
migrants
frontera, a la pared.
from
Pacific
Mexico
to the Gulf.
to America. They are singing songs of their agony.
Scorching hot suns by day and below zero temperatures by night, with only a gallon of water and a prayer in their pocket, hoping both will last. At the shore, Tabasco, 1519. La leyenda de la pared, the legend of the wall, begins at those who arrived wearing silver skin, who enslaved the Aboriginals and those brought on cargo ships, who created a system where the deeper the melanin, the deeper the slashes, ingrains pain into the minds of their kin. Whitebacks burdened with the mounds of gold at the expense of el indígena y el africano. False borders created at the Treaty of Hidalgo constructed a wall to separate us from them. On the television screen, everywhere, United States, 2016.
They wanted to break the wall between Mexico and
as he envisions
America.
it spread across 55 feet of cold concrete, smeared in hues of red, white, and blue. Because spending $14.4 billion on border enforcement is not enough. Having thermal sensors that detect the heat coming off of panting figures is not enough. Shooting hollow point bullets expanding at the impact of human flesh is not enough. Operation Gatekeeper, San Diego, Operation Safeguard, Tucson, Operation Hold the Line, El Paso are not enough. A woman holds up a poster with the words, illegals get everything and we get nothing. Working from sunrise to sundown for less than $2 an hour in 100-degree weather, getting everything. Walking 10 to 20 miles by Los Paleteros, who walked hundreds of miles across the border, getting everything. Standing in the corners of MacArthur Park, selling mangos con chile by Los Fruteros, getting everything. Ignoring the backs of los jardineros, begging their spines to realign with their ribs. Waking up before the sun does to pull out weeds of the yards that'll never be theirs, getting everything. A man yells, "It is not fair to let the illegals stay here." He says as millions cut out their Spanish tongues and close the veins that flow back to their gente, the 1940 bracero still carries my abuelo's fingerprints in the soil of Oxnard, bringing thousands of Mexicanos to work in los campos of el norte for more than they were used to, but less than they deserve. My tío's copper skin still lingers with the scent of DDT, sprayed along his bare brazos that pick the fruit that is set on your mahogany tables as the centerpiece. At the wall, U.S.-Mexican border, Texas, 2020. A la frontera. A la pared. Faceless crosses erased from its gleaming surface, replaced with hues of red, white, and blue. 55 feet of cold concrete that runs from the Pacific to the Gulf, and a cheer from those who used to grouse, joyous, relieved, grateful, and a silenced cry from those who used to walk, hoping their water and prayers will last. Tell us your dishonored names, and we will testify. Aquí descansa. Aquí descansa. Aquí descansa. Oye, listen.
Through these videos, we come to know about the grievance of all these people, particularly migrants. Thank you.
Tech is ever changing, and I think that keeps it interesting. Exploration is finding your boundaries and pushing past them.
Okay, we can wind up. Hello. Martin.
Vijay ma'am, I take over. Okay.
Please, thank you. Thank you for the chance given to me with all the people. Thank you, Faya sir. Thank you, Rajmohan sir. Thank you, Malti.
Okay, ma'am. That's wonderful. That's wonderful sharing. What was missed out yesterday is covered today, and as a suffixing of today's session.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay. Yeah, thank
for all
you.
those
Within the time limit, I finished. So just, I think I have to say thanks to Faya sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I would like to thank all the participants, and I would like to call it as a close of this session only. And afternoon session, we shall again assemble exactly. The session will start at 3 o'clock today. Participants may leave now and get back or stay tuned to us at 3 o'clock in the afternoon today. If any questions from any participants, they can ask. I have unmuted.